Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Mardek, and last time we made our way into AEROPOLIS for the first time, which is the big city on the southern continent, and, well, we might have just barely dipped our toe in the water here, but I think we will now see that, yes, it is truly an order of magnitude larger than any other city we've been in before. Gosnor, yes, technically speaking, is the larger city in the northern continent, but it's nothing compared to this. I'm lurking in a back alley, so you know you can trust me. What untrustworthy guy would ask you to trust him? None! Anyway, buy something, filthy whitewashed foreigners. Excuse me? Okay, so we see more options here. Things that theoretically are the types of crafting items, things like light essence that we've seen a little bit of in the past. Water essence, don't think we have any of that, or air fire for that matter. We had a magic runestone that I thought we picked up from the recent peddler that we spoke to in the previous episode. That might be worth picking up, and also emerald bangles. They are fairly strong. Gloria did, of course, start with one, but they do have 3 defense, 3 magic defense, and a fair bit of earth resistance along with some life. So, could be worth stockpiling a few. They are, however, 25,000 coins, which seems like, yeah, you know, maybe at some point, but probably not urgent enough for us to pick them up right now. So let's take the key runestone for crafting purposes, but other than that, I think the rest can probably wait. And then let's just see, where do we go next in AEROPOLIS? There's a lot of people for us to talk to. The shaman of this region lives in the district of the Mind, in the west part of the city. He knows everything. I once asked him if he liked how my hair looked, and he said he did. He's so wise. I guess. As for this random building here, this guy does not want to stand still long enough for us to talk to him. Inhabitant. You are in my house! Ah! Foreigners in my house! Why? Don't kill me! I mean, I suppose we did kind of just barge into his house unannounced. Okay. And then here is what is more or less the center of town. However, I think we cut a corner here and didn't get the chance to speak to these people here. The air crystal, which gives the city its name and prosperity, is housed within the air temple in the temple district. Well, sort of. Rumor has it that the actual air temple is on a floating island near the top of the clouds, with the one in the temple district merely being a link to there. Nobody except the sultan and the priestess are allowed to go deep into the temple though, so we can't be sure. Okay, interesting. We might ultimately, of course, want to make our way over to there. Seeing as how we are theoretically trying to, you know, nab all those crystals. You're not crime, are you? You're not thinking about crime, are you? You foreigners are all the same. Thanks. This pool of water would be great for swimming to get away from the scorching desert heat. Too bad you can't swim in this game, and neither can I. Oh. I suppose so. Does look like this would be the place where you jump in, though. There's a bit of a staircase there leading into the water, it would seem. Not this time, though. Pretty sure this is the pub that we were in previously. Yep. Where we were talking to Zach. And there's a familiar face. Gope again. Hey, boss. When I were a bandit, I used to talk about AEROPOLIS a fair bit, seeing as it came from here and all. Doesn't seem quite as grand as I expected, to be honest. More crowded and smelly. Want to see me wares, friend? Okay, and again, he has all the things that we've sold to him in the past. So that includes our many topazes and fire opals from the Sun Temple. Other than that, I do think we are starting to stockpile a fair bit of other, maybe not so useful things, like, at this stage, the copper ring. We used it a fair bit in Chapter 1, maybe to a certain extent in Chapter 2, but at this stage, it's pretty much useless to us. Just 50 coins, so also not worth very much, but let's just get rid of the inventory space. Other than that, we do of course have some old chest plates, which maybe we don't necessarily need at this stage anymore, but I think we'll be fine for now. So that's Gope. As for Johnny Foreigner, this place is so huge, I keep getting lost, And I'm sure I've got sunstroke. Wow! The people here also have different colored skin to me. That's weird. Foul-smelling oaf. Well, that's a nice way to introduce yourself. I wish people threw money into this water so I could nick it. Okay. More people to talk to, though. One of the guards keeps looking at me all the time. Can't tell if it's because he thinks I look good or because he's possessed by a devil that feeds on the flesh of human women but only attacks after watching them for ages. Well... Hopefully it's not that. Know-it-all? Do you know that the priestess of the Air Temple was once an adventurer who traveled with that famous northerner, Social Fox? Now you do. Interesting. Okay. Is this that guard? Our fair city, unfortunately, cannot be uniformly prosperous. While some gain vast riches, others are reduced to poverty. Those unlucky individuals make their homes in the slums, which you will reach this way. Be wary, however. The slums are poorly policed, and the people are desperate. Many will see a party of foreigners as yourself as ripe targets, and will ambush you from the shadows. Be on your guard. Interesting. Okay, so that is something that we've not yet seen in other cities, with the exception of maybe Canonia with the zombie cave, if you want to make the case for that. But this here would be away to another section of the city, so it's already huge. Yes, there are more areas to it. But let's check out this central area first, and then we'll go over to the side areas. What do you want? Wares to buy? I'll give you wares to buy, but not for free! It's okay. Wasn't really planning on purchasing any wares for free. Wouldn't really be purchasing then, would it? So you have more potions. Zantusi and Scimitar, we have plenty of those. A pike, which is a spear, a simple spear, often used by generic, expendable soldiers. Let's maybe just, not tell them that. No skills, nothing really special in terms of other characteristics, and it has 9 attack, so it is mostly just a horrendous pike. Okay. So maybe let's pass on that for now, even if it is new. Then there's a magic poker, which is, maybe you could have thought of a different name for it, but sure. A simple, magically enchanted spear. Its design is closer to that of a magic staff than a war spear, and as such, it's great for boosting the power of spells, but relatively weak at physical strikes. So 20 attack, I think we would find that is still relatively low compared to other spears that we have. We don't have Charlotte or Donovan in our party right now, so I don't think we have any to compare it against right now, but I'm pretty sure that would be the case. And then it gives us the Thunderbolt ability, as well as an offensive magic reaction, which could probably be rather useful for Charlotte or Donovan. Then it gives +3 Spirit, which of course means that it will be more effective for spellcasters, and then it has a lot of empowering abilities for various elements. However, as we know, that's not really going to do much of anything, so it's mostly the additional Spirit and that Thunderbolt skill and the magic reaction. So let's pick it up here. It is, whoa! Well, I was gonna say let's pick it up, but it is 36,000 coins? Hold on, maybe let's see how much other things cost first, because this thing is gonna take away half of our wallet here. Star Metal Blade is a great sword. Now, Dugan was our only greatsword user, and of course he's no longer with us, so I'm not really sure there's much use in picking this up, and it costs 50,000 coins. 48 attack is a ton. It's a powerful blade made of a metal that fell to Belfan in a meteor. No additional skills, +2 strength as well. So I think that one is pretty safe to pass on for the time being, because we don't have anyone who can use it right now. Then we have Snake Mail, which is a light armor with 6 defense, 2 magic defense, an armor made with the scales of a large desert-dwelling snake. It protects against poison. It has a Sin Strike ability, which is a new ability that we have not yet seen. That is actually based on the symbol there. You might remember, looks kind of like the double swords, that is Zac, so that is a new ability for Zac to learn. Also has the -10% physical damage, defensive reaction, and antibody. Also has +2 vitality and agility and 100% resistance to poison. This looks quite useful for us. We'll, of course, want to first and foremost get it on Zach, who at the moment is not in the party, but he's sitting on the sideline. At some point, we'll get him back in the action. So I think that is definitely worth it for us to pick up now. Other than that, we see a night jacket, which is a dark purple iridescent jacket that seems to emanate a feeling of unease. It protects against elements, the dark particularly. And it has resist dark. It is very strong because it absorbs 20% dark, meaning 120% resistance, and a little bit of resistance to other elements as well. So that makes for it to be, I would argue, one of the strongest chest plates in the entire game. So for that reason, again, fairly expensive, but I think definitely worth the price. And then we see some of the elemental pendants here. Fire, water, air, and earth. And we've seen fire, and we've seen air thus far. Donovan and Charla both started with these. However, I believe this is our first time seeing earth or water. They're relatively inexpensive, and they do have the magic resistance of their respective elements, as well as 50% resistance to that element. So if, say, we were expecting to run into a lot of water enemies or a lot of earth enemies, then it would probably be very useful for us to pick these up. So I think this is very much worth the investment. In fact, I would argue you could make a strong case for picking up multiple of them, because that way you could have a full party's worth of people learning the skill. So let's do just that. We'll get enough to have a full party with at least one water pendant and one earth pendant. You could even do twice as much and get it so that everyone could be completely resistant to earth by using double earth pendants. And that is tempting here, but I think for the time being, let's hold off. We might not find that we need to do that. Mostly I'm doing this for the sake of giving everyone the opportunity to learn the reactions, less so for the resistance here, although that is also a reason to use these. And let's pick up a little bit more of the air and fire pendants, although, like I said before, we do have some of these already, so maybe not quite as much of a need there. And the other thing we see here is an amethyst earring, which is a magical pendant that wards the mind against confusion. 2 defense, 2 magic defense. Has the clarity ability, which I actually think that Meriador is currently learning from the amethyst. So it is very similar to the amethyst. It's the amethyst earring. It is just objectively better, because the normal amethyst doesn't have any other stats other than only 30% resistance to confusion. So you really do need to have clarity equipped in order to be guaranteed to not get hit with that. Whereas this one, 100% resistant to confusion, so you don't even need to have it equipped. Just putting on the earring itself is enough to make sure that it doesn't happen to you, in addition to a little bit of defense and magic defense, so it is definitely better. 3,000 coins is a little bit, but certainly not as much as, say, the Star Metal Blade, which at this point we actually wouldn't even be able to afford at all. And Magic Poker, it's tempting. At some point, we definitely will want to go back to pick this up. However, for the time being, let's pass. Because like I said, at least at the moment, we aren't playing with Charla or Donovan. There is another bookshelf here. It would seem, however, we can't actually read anything from that. It's a phony. Okay, so that is that shop there. Have we spoken to this gentleman yet? Man in a turban? This town is full of merchants. It definitely is. You may have to shop around a bit to find the best wares, but beware. Some merchants cannot be trusted. But what about the trustworthy guy over in the corner? He seemed fine. Another peddler? Don't buy the shoddy goods from this shady establishment behind me. Buy my goods instead. They're totally legit. Come on, you can trust me. Can we? I don't know. Bronze sword, that is an old weapon. Iron spear, same there. Fish scales, if we needed to pick up more fish scales, because, say, maybe we didn't pick some up in Chapter 2, which we did, then this might have been necessary, because this is something that you do need in order to create that potion that will allow you to breathe underwater, which we are looking to do to get into Lake Quirr. But at the moment, we don't need them, because we've already picked up our fair share. Could even pick up a human skull. We saw that was something that we needed for crafting these helmets here. I think there were actually a few vendors who were selling that. Same thing with the Onyx is another thing that you would need for that. Ruby, we picked one of those up previously. Blood Opal, we did get as a drop somewhere in the Sandflow Caves, I think it was, but we were just seeing recently that in Xanthusia, It is an item that you need to craft a new sword, and we were hesitant to do so because it also has the Drain HP ability that we didn't want to lose, because not everyone has learned it yet. So I think this is also definitely worth picking up here. We have an Ancient Pot, which is a plot item, an ancient artifact. It's a rather nondescript clay pot, but due to its age and the fact that it's from some likely long-dead civilization, the collector would probably have great interest in it. Okay, and it costs 1,000 coins, which is not a terribly large amount, but it is some kind of plot item, as we see here. So for that reason, it is worth picking up. Then we have a turquoise, which I don't think we've seen yet. It's a gemstone with 5 magic defense. That's quite a lot. A rather rare gem that's said to be the crystallized soul of some ancient creature that lived before the world began. While this may not be at all true, turquoise gems do contain the Aether element. It gives Spirit Graft, which is a new ability. That symbol there is for Solar, so that's a Solar skill, and also Resist Aether. And that, I mean, we haven't seen a lot of enemies that deal that element in terms of damage, but that, I would say, is one of the biggest differences from Chapter 2 to Chapter 3, is Chapter 3, elemental resistances, you can get a lot more of them, and they become, for that reason, arguably the most relevant way to build your defenses, less so the raw stats that you see in terms of physical and magical defense here. So for that reason, I think this is definitely worth picking up. It is 12,000 coins, though. That is a ton, but I think it is worth it. I think it is still worth it, because that is something that we're going to find very useful. Other than that, there's another guard here. This leads to the District of the Mind. There you will find all manner of things to stimulate your mind, such as a magic shop, theater, library, and museum. The AEROPOLIS Shaman also resides in that district. Okay. Noted, however, I think we do want to make sure that we check out everything in this area first. And that is, primarily, tons and tons of shopkeepers. Your clothes are sickeningly ugly, foreigners. Who dresses you in your strange alien countries? Your slaves' daughters? They're idiots. You need to buy some of my trendier armors, so then people don't throw rocks at you for looking so ridiculous. Even though your appearance would look the same, whatever you have equipped. Buy some anyway. Oh, yes, you do have new things we've not yet seen. A magic shirt, which has 5 defense, and is an enchanted shirt, usually worn by nobles who want the protection of armor without the unsightly bulk of it. I suppose that might be a way for us to look a little bit nicer. Does give the physical minus 20% damage, and I think it is, because it's clothing, something that just about anyone could wear. I don't recall as to whether minus 20% damage is something that, say, our spellcasters would only be able to get from this item here. I remember that, yes, Gloria's chestplate does have minus 10% damage. This would be worth picking up if this is the only way to get that skill, of course, but if there are other ways, then maybe we could save ourselves 10,000 coins. As for this chestplate here, it's iron armor, which is heavy, so it would only be wearable for our physical attackers. 8 defense, a full suit of armor made of iron, minus 30% damage. That's strong. I think that we already have that, but again, I feel like we need to double check here, and that's just about it. Other than that, we have a gold shield. This shield isn't made of solid gold because it'd be ludicrously expensive and rather soft and useless if it was. Instead, it's merely gold-plated. Surprisingly, it actually costs less than the magic shirt, despite being gold-plated, but oh well. It has the shield ability, which is something that we learned back in Chapter 1 for Mardek. Also, Damage Soak 20, which I feel like we recently got an item that taught that skill. Yes, the Skull Helmets did. So I was gonna say, that might be a way for some people to learn that ability that might not have otherwise had access to it. But the helmet, just about everyone, other than the people who can only wear hats, will be able to wear this. So for that reason, I think that for the most part, we might find that all 3 of these items are not terribly valuable to us. Let's double check those skills. Does Mardek have minus 30% physical damage? He does not. Okay, so in that case, that does mean that at least that iron chestplate would give us a new skill. So in that case, let's pick it up. It is 8,000, which is at least a little bit less than the magic shirt, but we are very quickly blowing through all of our money here. But I think we're picking up some good things along the way, so I hazard to say that it is worth it. We did, of course, deliberately not purchase a bunch of gold and silver from earlier shopkeepers, and had we done that, then we would not have been able to do all this purchasing here. So there will definitely be reason to come back here to check out these shopkeepers again. And another shop, dare I say. Hello! Would you like to purchase some instruments of death, dear foreigners? I'm not surprised, what with you being barbaric savages and all. And these guys are just so friendly toward newcomers. And I don't think we've seen any of these weapons before. We have an AEROPOLIS scimitar, which is a sword with 36 damage, which is at least higher than Mardek's current champion sword. It's a type of scimitar made exclusively in AEROPOLIS. It's of the air element. It gives Air Slash, which is a new ability for Mardek. Also has 10% crit chance, which is the same as his current champion sword, however that is high. Usually you'd find swords have, I think it's about, well, we can double check here. Usually swords would have 4. So for that reason, yeah, higher damage, still the same high crit chance. It has Air Elemental, and also that means that it is, on top of that, effective against Earth, which is typically the element that air would be effective against, and +1 agility. It is 12,000 coins. We could theoretically afford it. However, I suspect that based on how there are other items here that we've not yet seen, those probably we would not be able to afford if we were to go with the scimitar. So we have the Desert Spear, which has 32 attack. I'm pretty sure that the magic poker we were looking at previously only had 20. We weren't sure as to how that might stack up with other spears, but here we see it is a fair bit worse, at least in terms of the physical attacks, than what we have here in the Desert Spear. It's a type of ornate spear forged in AEROPOLIS. Gives the Burn and Gust Shield ability, Burn being for Donovan, Gust Shield being for Charlotte. And just the higher attack as well. This is 8,500, slightly less than the Mighty Axe. 42 damage, being a great axe, it would of course be for Slinik. A solid, powerful axe made for rending armor. Gives the boost ability, which actually, you can have this back in Chapter 2. And also Quarry Insect, for extra damage against insects. And 42 base attack and 4% crit chance. Other than that, we have 2 Moons, which is a double sword, so that would be a Zac weapon. 34 base attack, an exotic weapon with crescent hook-like blades at either end. It does give coup de grace and critical plus 20%. Okay, so that would be, of course, a Zac skill, in addition to an offensive reaction for additional crit chance, which Mardek did get from, I believe it was the Xanthusian Scimitar, but that was because that's from a sword, and Zac, being a double sword user, would not normally have access to that, so he needs it through this. Then an Air Staff, 24 base attack, a two-handed staff, with an elemental gem on the head, infused with the powers of air. It gives Twister, Null Air once, both of those being Gloria skills, as well as plus 20% magic damage. Plus 1 spirit as well, and is of course Air Elemental. So lots of options here. Unfortunately, we would not necessarily be able to afford them all, is the issue. So what do we prefer? Let's take a look at least who we have currently in our party. That would mean Mardek, of course, would be able to put this on immediately. That might be helpful. We could put that to use. Similarly, Gloria, you are also currently in the party, so we could immediately put the Air Staff to use. Whereas things like the Spear, Great Axe, or Double Sword, we'd have to swap some people in, which of course we will end up doing at some point, but if we're looking for some reason to take one of these items over the other, then maybe that's reason for us to take the Air Staff. It is also, I believe, the cheapest item here, because at the moment, after having picked that up, the only other thing we could afford would be the Desert Spear, and only barely. So, hopefully there aren't any other extremely tempting things for us to purchase, because we're not going to be able to afford them at this stage. This leads to the Temple District, Pray to whatever deity you serve there, foreigners, but only if it's your lord, or, that other one, Solon or something, I think? Nobody pays much attention to that one. The air temple is also in the temple district, and you may speak with the priestess, but you can't see the crystal. That's for the sultan and priestess only. We'll have to see about that. As for this gentleman hanging out in this corridor over here, he's the learned man. You're from Koznor, from the look of it. I'm very surprised that you are so far from home. Usually, the Temple of Yalort here sends its paladins out to solve local problems. Unless there's something too big for them to handle, or they're all busy. Should I start being afraid? Yeah, that might mean that something big is afoot. As for this guy staring at a box, this city should be called City of Crates, or maybe Cratopolis, or Crateland, for there are many crates lying all around on the streets, you see. I'm very surprised that thieves don't steal their contents constantly. But then, there are the guards everywhere. So, maybe the guards already stole everything worth stealing? You might be onto something. Okay, so, we have, up to the north, the Temple District, to the right, the slums, and then to the left we'll find things like a museum, a theater. As for what we ought to explore next, that's a good question. Let's check out the slums maybe to the right. If people wouldn't body block us. Let's see what this guard has to say. You look like foreigners. You best be careful in here. These are the slums. They're full of thugs who jump out of nowhere and mug you. You should head back. Well, we're hardened adventurers. There's nothing here we can't easily handle. Mardek? Careful. Is that so? Yes. You do look rather combat-ready and able. Good, good. Maybe you can help me out. Oh? See, these slums are nothing but a crime hole. And the rest of the guards do nothing about it. It's a lawless zone. But as long as we leave this area to the criminals, the others say, they won't spread elsewhere. All the crime in one place, no crime anywhere else in the city. Or so they say. But to make it look like the Sultan cares about the city a lot, I'm officially appointed here to take care of the problem. They did this, sent just me, because they knew I'd be able to do nothing alone. I feel that these crime-filled slums give the city a bad name, and I'd like to do my duty, even if I can't do it alone. If you can, I'd appreciate it if you could take out at least 20 thugs. Don't worry, there'll be a reward. Oh? Okay. So we can take out thugs in here, and it is an entirely separate part of the city. So, how exactly does that work? We'll have to see. Well, we can run into fights here, seemingly. And they are against none other than thugs. Let's check it out. Whoa, one of them is level 7. Okay, sure. The other one is level 16? That is a huge difference between them. And they are using a mithril sword, a wooden shield, and bandit leather, I suppose is rather fitting. So they are somewhat weak to fire, fairly resistant to air, and somewhat resistant to paralysis. Elwian does go first here. We can use Spirits on to make our spells stronger. How strong are they? Well, if they crit, they can deal on the order of 200 damage, at least to Gloria. Mardek, of course, does have stronger defenses. As for Meriador, their thermal spanner, that is fire elemental, so it is useful. As for how much damage we might expect for you to do with it, is it going to be enough to take out a level 16 thug? Maybe not. Let's play it safe here first. And it looks like it was just enough to take out the weaker of the two. Then Gloria, you could opt to use something like Razor Leaf, which we had the chance to master, or at least use up a little bit, when we were going against the Trilobite back at the Hero's Den. So we're a little bit closer to mastering that than we are some of Gloria's other abilities. And then there is a shop in here as well, in the middle of the slums. Greetings. I specialize in what you would call antiques. I sell things that adventurers didn't collect when they should have done, but were brought here by bandits instead. See anything you want? So, this is a place where I believe if you have, like he sort of suggested, missed any important items from previous areas in Chapter 1 or 2 that you might not be able to go back to, you can pick them up here. There is a bone slicer here. We definitely did pick one of these up in Chapter 2. However, I think there might have been one in Cambria as well that we ultimately did not purchase because we already had one. So I don't necessarily think this is strictly necessary for us, but good to know that it's an option at the very least. Other than that, there's this area. It's a warehouse. It's locked tight, but there is a keyhole. The right key, you'd be able to get through. Huh. Interesting. Is there anything behind it? Doesn't seem like it. So I'm pretty sure that means that we've covered all the ground here. Yeah. So that means that, at this rate, we're mostly just looking to take out more of those bandits, the thugs. So we'll do a few more fights here. And they are quick. If they do hit Elwian, then she could be in trouble. We did, of course, get Gloria, who took a crit last time, so we could probably use a little bit of healing. Probably ought to have done that in between fights. So we got, I think it was about 140 damage last time Variador attacked one of these guys. Oh, I missed the reaction, but he did still manage to take that guy out. Razor Leaf, I think, did deal enough damage to also take somebody out here. Oh, except not quite that time. So, Mardek, sure, you can go next, and you should be able to take out this thug, I would think. Elwian, likely a reason for you to use a physical attack. Try to take this guy out on your turn rather than give him the chance to get one more turn in himself. Let's give it a shot. Oh, except you need it to hit. And he uses a potion, which in some ways is actually a good thing, because that means he's not dealing any damage, and well, we can do plenty of that. You even use a physical attack with Gloria? Nah, that's probably not necessary, right? We could use this as an opportunity to use a group heal with Earth Heal. So that is another ability that Gloria has. Rather than using a heal for Mardek, which isn't as important because he's, of course, already mastered his heal ability long ago. But we'll take out this thug here. Get a better potion and get a little bit of coins as well, which, and after spending so much in the other section of the city, we could definitely use a little bit of that. Now, the other thing that I want to make sure that we do, though, is that I'm pretty sure we recently picked up a new Dreamstone. Yes, that we've not yet listened to. I'm a failure. I can't even die properly. Feels like I've been lying here forever. I don't even know where I am. Eyes won't open. Limbs won't move. Just lying here, cold, soaked, waiting to die a slow and pointless death. Pointless? No. I did achieve something. I did, I hope. I hope they're safe. I hope she's safe. But no, it's strange. Thought my last thoughts would be romantic thoughts of her. But I wonder if lust is even that strong? Lust. I barely knew her. I only longed for her due to biological urges. We're probably not even that alike in personality. She had her eyes on him anyway. Him. My last thoughts are of him. I mean, we've known each other all our lives. I was closer to him than anyone. Even if it did sometimes feel like I was talking at him, like he didn't involve himself or focus like I did. I don't know. I hated how he always seemed to do better anyway, though. That self-confidence. He wasn't full of this self-loathing. I try to hide it, but here I am now, all alone in my mind with no external influence to affect my thoughts. Alone with my thoughts. And here lurk all my doubts, all my pains, in a way with an air of fake confidence over the years. I'm just miserable. She knew the real me. She'd hate me. He'd hate me. Everyone would. Maybe I'm better off dying here in the dirt, letting them go on without me. Yes, he'll be better off. Without me. No. I don't know. I'm still alive. This is a world of wondrous magic. Phoenix Downs and all that. I've fallen in battle before and got up to fight another day. This isn't the end. It can't be. I won't let it be the end. I'll try to move it all. My body's all but dead. Maybe the mind doesn't even fade after death. Maybe this is death. Maybe people buried in coffins just while away the eons with their lonely thoughts, their minds. How dreadful. I'll be driven utterly mad. Maybe someone will find me. Help me. Maybe. He roams around. He's an adventurer. Find me. But that's not a good thing. Is it? It'd be just wrong. Anticlimactic. Not right. A heroic sacrifice can't just lead to a casual reunion moments later. No. I don't want to ruin his parade. Take his spotlight. Whatever phrase is appropriate. He should be the hero. I should be remembered as a hero who made the ultimate sacrifice for the good of others. I shouldn't revive and then mess it up. Yes, ending here would be best. I'll be remembered a hero. Remembered a hero. Hero. My mind's going off. Bye-bye. Footsteps? Okay. A lot in that dreamstone there. Do you guys think you know who that might have been? I don't know. I'll leave you to it. I think this is a good place for us to wrap up. So I'll catch you in the next one where we'll check out even more of AEROPOLIS because it is just that big.